Welcome to the Intuitive Patterns for the month of September 2020. In the Osho Zen Tarot, we have the cards Ripeness, Integration, and Sorrow. In the Medicine cards, we have Hawk, Crow, and Wolf. In the Mayan Oracle, we have the Realm Shift, Ahau. In the Ancient Egyptian Tarot, we have the Three of Discs, the Three of Wands, and the Five of Wands. In the Aleister Crowley Thoth Tarot deck, we have the Failure card, the Dominion card, and the Queen of Wands. In the Healing Earth Tarot, we have the Woman of Feathers, the Seven of Rainbows, and the Four of Shields. In the Words of Truth, we have the cards Energy, Change, and Addiction. As the astrology continues to escalate and the drama refuses to let up, you will, in September, continue to get confronted with what you have co-created at this time in life. Everything is a reflection of yourself, your conscious self and your unconscious self. It is the unconscious self becoming conscious that has created so much upset and turmoil. Most things can be hidden for a while, but many things years ago, the astrology shifted to bring the truth out. And that truth is hard to handle right now. Forget about the perceived mental facts and look at the energy, the flow of that energy, and the manifestations that such energy creates. Energy does not lie. The flow of that energy shows you the direction things will take and therefore the intention by which that energy will direct itself. And the manifestation of that energy is a result of all those thoughts, shadows, and egos playing out all their games of war, conflict, and dominance into the physical plane of existence. This particular manifestation is unusually messy and terrifying. The cards indicate that something is ripe and ready to be born. We entered into a shift of consciousness, a shift that had previously never managed to take hold in this reality. This month, there is a strong energy force that has the ability to maintain that tenuous spark of possibility. This energy is going to finally catch fire and shine a very bright light beyond this third dimension and allow us to see and move into a higher conscious existence. But we have to get there first. And the Five of Wands indicates that the armies of the Emperor will wage war against the people. I expect the tensions to escalate to violent proportions as we move closer to the election. Expect to see people in the streets, an aggressive force trying to stop the voice of the people from being heard. The beginning of all life starts with a powerful force of energy penetrating the old world in a quick and violent way. The lesson this month is to remember that you are only as powerful as your capacity to perceive, receive, and use your abilities. The cry of the hawk is everywhere this month, and it is piercing your mind as it attempts to slumber and avoid dealing with the harshness of this reality. When the hawk inside of you is not in balance, you will emotionally color everything to the point that nothing is clear. The ego wants to blind the eyes of the hawk so it cannot fly high to see things from an overview position. Notice the things and people that attempt to blind you to your true self. Notice those that intend to pull you down and make you dependent on them. The Woman of Feathers reminds you that just like a hummingbird, you should not be able to fly, and yet somehow it manages to do just that. Your body and soul are intimately connected to this magical energy. What allows the hummingbird to fly is the joy in its heart. You too can fly, but you will need to listen and let that joy in your heart be the guide and inspiration to show you how the impossible is possible. And when you find that joy and connect that joy to the hearts and souls of your spiritual family, then you become a force for change, a change that no amount of addiction or denial can deter. While others use anger to loudly make noise with the intention to frighten those of lesser strength to be afraid, instead use that energy they're haphazardly giving off to strengthen your joy, to break their toxic hold on you, you need to remember that you are here for the greater good, not just your own ego or beliefs. When you stand up for the goodness without being attached to how that goodness is supposed to be distributed, then those that are hateful and afraid have no ability to pull on you, because you want goodness for them all. You want everyone to have what is essential for a healthy and happy life. You want everyone to have equal opportunities. You want everyone to shine their light brightly in their own unique and special way. When you are not showing an ounce of favoritism, only then will they see the clearest mirror they have ever seen. Instead of seeing the projection of their greatest fears on others, perhaps when they look at you, they may begin to see that they are the ones most afraid after all. Okay, so, you know, in all those movies where the hero and the friends of the hero have a hawk, and that hawk is flying up and giving them an overview, and they can see through the hawk's eyes in some way, and the hawk is giving messages and flying back and forth giving those messages, and that the evil ones are always looking for those hawks, because hawks fly alone. And the intuitives and the healers of this world oftentimes are flying alone. And we do our best to show from a place of overview what's coming and how to protect yourself. And we try and be the warning system. And how inevitably the darkness will try to take out those hawks. And how many movies has the hawk been shot out of the sky? Those that try to give the warning are shot down. Those that are trying to bring the awareness and to bring in a perspective that has overview are taken out as quickly as possible, because dark forces want you blind. They want you blind. They want you disconnected because of fear from your overview and your intuition and your psychic ability. Many years ago, I was teaching classes on channeling in the 1990s and in the years 2000. And I told everybody in the 1990s that when we got to 2011, 12, and 13, the Mayan, the Tibetan, and the Hopi calendars were all ending. And so some people said, oh, well, then we don't need retirement. We don't need this. I'm like, no, that's not what this is about. What this is about is that by then, it's going to become critical that people have access to their intuition and their psychic ability and their overview, because the energy is going to magnify and increase at such a fast pace, and the volume of information coming at you is going to be so massive that if you do not have your own intuition and you are relying on the traditions of the old religions and the old dogmas to navigate a world that has never had things like social media, has never had, the ability for very, very toxic and dangerous and mentally ill people to share very frightening and scary ideas that promote hate and discord, that you would have to have connection with your own guides and your own angels. And if you didn't, you were going to be in a world of hurt, and you were going to be in a world of fear. And so once again, the game comes back to everybody needs to find what gives them happiness and joy. Everybody needs to hold on to that as if you will die if you let it go. And you have to want it that badly. You literally have to grab it and you have to want it and say, I am not letting anything destroy my peace. And I remember the story of the friend of the Dalai Lama that was trapped in China by the Red Army, and he was tortured every single day, and they would beat him and he would bless them, and they would beat him and he would bless them. And so to the point that his guards had to be changed because the guards would want to stop beating him, right? And so this man spent 20 years in prison in China, being attacked and by people that wanted to break him. And when he finally was released, you know, and they asked him, how did you survive that? You know, he said it was a real danger that these people's hatred was going to make him get disturbed in his peace. And, you know, that was the fight, is to not let them disturb what you know deepest in your heart is true. What I know deepest in my heart is that the majority of people are good. And but I also know that good people can be lied to and manipulated through fear and anger, to the point that they are actually, they turn, you know, they turn into something that they never were. And that's where you get your peace disturbed. So, you know, to me at this point, it's like, does it promote peace inside of you? Does it disturb your peace? You know, when you finish saying it, does it make you feel good, or does it make you feel horrible? And as spiritual conscious people, we need to start calling out the people that are hating, and just say, wow, I never expected to hear such hate coming from you. I know who you are. I know who you can be. I know you're better than this. I know who's really in there. You know, this isn't even your voice. This is someone else's voice. And, you know, you want to be your authentic self no matter what. You know, you don't want to be the voice that's being controlled by a force that is not good. So this month, cultivate that peace. And as I'm doing this, you know, in August, I'm doing this video on August 17th. We finally are having rain today, and so it's been boiling hot, and we're finally having rain and thunderclouds, and I know everybody's afraid of the thunder and the lightning, but when it comes with the rain, it helps quite a bit. So, you know, as I'm doing this, it's like I'm feeling the joy of the trees, and I'm feeling the birds and the animals like breathing a sigh of relief. You know, it's like they can breathe, and I'm noticing the banded pigeons over there on the feeders completely eating everything in sight, because that's what they do in the morning. And to find joy in that, because you have to find the joy in as many ways as you possibly can. And the next 90 days that we're going through this election and past, because if you think this election is going to be settled on election day, you are wrong. This election may not be settled until December, based on the astrology. So you can't say, oh, it's just going to be 80 days, you know, and we're going to be there. I'm like, nope. You know, I mean, there's going to be so much contested stuff, and so much violence, and so much distortion, and so many lies, and you know, they're going to try everything in the world to stop the voice of the people, and you cannot stop. If you are holding a sane voice for the people, a sane voice for this country, you cannot let them take that from you. You cannot let them take that from you, no matter what. Thanks, everybody.